Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by San Marcos Mexican Restaurant located right here at 2301 Southwest 59th Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Don't forget to check them out with their weekday specials, and don't forget that they have Wednesdays Margarita Day, $5 on the house margaritas, frozen or on the rocks. Check them out every single day. Great food and even better customer service. It's the only restaurant of the Cine-Men movie podcast.
Want a piece of me?
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
You do? You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Happy 4th of July, moviegoers. Happy Monday. Welcome to episode 200. Welcome to Rodeo Cinema, and welcome to the Cine-Men movie podcast. I'm your host, Juan, and I'm joined by the cast, the crew, the guys. Zach.
Welcome to Earth.
Craig.
Yo.
Thank you for joining us, everybody, to another episode. This one is a little bit different, though. This one will be live on location here at at Rodeo Cinema, located 2221 Exchange Avenue, right here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Come check us out. We are here talking about Independence Day with a free lobby show, and you guys can win some prizes. So
Lots of goodies here. Lots of goodies.
Craig showing off the camera there. We have a live look in at the lobby show. Some people have already started joining us, but go ahead and come on down. Even if you come in at 2:58. Come hang out with us and win some prizes.
Right when the credits hit. Come on in.
Right when the credits hit. Maybe if this was Resurgence, that's what people would do.
Yeah, probably.
But guys, how's everybody's 4th of July weekend went? Craig, you have a good 4th of July weekend?
It's been good. We did ours on Saturday so that we could have 2 days of recouping from the adult beverages. But yeah, it's been fun so far.
Adult beverages, Craig. Zach, how about you? You have some adult beverages in you?
I did. I actually just smashed one before we even got in here.
Yeah, of course you did. As long as you didn't have any adults in you, that's all we're worried about.
Yeah, well,
No. But we're live here, hanging out, talking with everybody. If this is the first time you guys have heard us, you guys can find us on the social media. I gave away digital copies all holiday weekend long. It's facebook.com/the Cine-Men movie podcast. The Instagram is all one word, the Cine-Men movie podcast. And then the Twitter is at Cine-Men405. You guys can also email us, and we have an email bag at the end of every episode. The email is cinemen921@gmail.com. Yeah, we have a bunch of stuff to get through today. A fun top 5. I don't know about you guys, but we are talking our top 5 Will Smith movies today. Not Will Smith moments, because I think we all know what would be number 1.
Yeah.
Sure.
But no, it is man, what a day to be a movie fan. And if this does sound a little unorthodox, we're live. I don't know if I said that.
I don't know. It feels good. Feels good to be here and actually doing something like this. So yeah, just excited to see how kind of the whole episode goes.
It is a little
toasty,
a little toasty in here. But everybody watching live on Imosawa Productions, thank you. Episode 200. A look back at last week's episode, though. You guys can.
Was it Spawn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A look back. Last week's episode was Spawn, episode 199. You can check it out wherever you listen to podcasts. Spotify, Anchor, Podbean, the big one that says volume. Anywhere you listen to podcasts that you can check it out. So whether it be the Instagram, you guys can check us out on Instagram as well. So,
Yeah. Also Thursday we had our midweek podcast. Was Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Pretty fun, short, sweet episode there. Good conversations with you guys, you and Ed, and just kind of going back and looking at that after watching the Obi-Wan series. I think it was good to kind of see, 20 years ago how they were, and compared to now, between Ewan and Hayden. It was good to see just where they came from, and it was just a good watch.
Zach, you didn't join us for the episode, but at least for me, Obi-Wan did not make Attack of the Clones any better.
No, it didn't.
Mm-mm.
Did you, Craig? I know you're the Star Wars fan. Did it like help the story with Attack of the Clones?
Not really. No, I don't think Attack of the Clones benefited from it, but I think Episode 3 probably definitely does.
It'll definitely be interesting to get into Episode 3. I want to check that out soon too. But you guys can check us out also on Prescribed Films Network. We are on the Prescribed Films Network. Just go to www.prescribedfilms.com to check us out there. Hashtag the PFPN. They have a bunch of other great podcasts on there as well, like the Movie Defenders, Attack of the Killer podcast. So check them out, prescribedfilms.com. But you guys can join us right now live. Come hang out, Rodeo Cinema, 2221 Exchange Avenue, right here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. We are doing a live lobby show of Independence Day, which we are talking about, giving a star rating and some favorite scenes. But now, guys, we'll kind of get into a little bit movie news. I wanted to bring this up to you guys. Minions hit $110 million this weekend. That's insane. Coming in second place was Top Gun with 25 million.
Still going strong. That's amazing.
And then number 3 was Elvis with 19 million. Are you guys surprised that Top Gun has had this kind of surgence for the last month? It's dominated everywhere that it's been at.
I think we always kind of joked about it, even leading up to its release. Of we don't really think this movie was going to make $1 billion, but I mean, I think it came down to it's just a great movie, a good movie with quality performances and just overall well crafted. And it, I mean, I really want to see it again, to be honest. But I mean, it's already at 1.1 billion, so I mean the numbers speak for themselves.
I'm gonna probably check it out one more time. What about you, Craig?
Yeah, I mean, I think looking back at it, if we weren't to go back and see Top Gun in the movie theaters, it would. I mean, I've already seen it basically twice, 2.5 times. And I think this is one of those movies where 15, 20, 25 years from now, people are going to be like, man, I wish I saw that movie in the theaters. Kind of like we look back at Star Wars and some of the older flicks that have been massive. Titanic, luckily they brought that back for 3D in like 2011. But I think it will. I think it's going to stand the test of time. I think it's going to be one of those movies where people are going to be like, I saw that day one. It's going to be one of those movies. And when Tom Cruise is all said and done as an actor and people are no longer making movies the way that he made Top Gun, it might be one of the last biggest standing pure action films of all time.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk to one of you guys about. Do you think it can make a run at the Oscars?
I don't know how it couldn't. I mean, because that movie, we're already halfway through the year, and this is the highest grossing film of the year, most critically well-received film of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, I could easily see it pick up some tech nods and the song that Lady Gaga did, and I don't think it'll happen, but I would maybe take a run at Tom Cruise's Best Actor, or even Miles Teller's Supporting Actor.
Do you think it can make a nod for Best Picture?
I don't see why it wouldn't. I mean, the amount of effort that they put into that film and so I don't know all of the list of what they look at and they're like, this is what makes it a Best Picture. But if you're going based off of what it took to make the film, the budget going into the film, the actors that were in it, how the actors portrayed the film, all of that stuff, like it in my opinion, it has the making to be the best movie of the year. And if it's making more money than any movie of the year, more money than any Marvel movie makes, because I mean, we have two Marvel movies left, and if it makes more than those two, that means more people went and saw it. More people went and saw it multiple times, and it's going to end up over like a 90% acceptance rating. Like that's hard to beat, regardless of what you classify as the best winner.
And even like money making films, like you said, Thor is this weekend. We'll see how that does. But I if anything has a chance of outdoing that, it's probably Black Panther and maybe Avatar, The Way of the Water.
I think Avatar, and I think by the end of the year, it's going to be Avatar, Top Gun, Black Panther, Thor. I think that'll be the top 4 for the year.
Speaking of Thor, next week, 201, we're going to be talking about Thor, Love, and Thunder. We're going back to the theater next week with Thor, Love, and Thunder. Zach, you're the TV guy. I wanted to bring this up to you.
Mm-hmm.
Liv Schreiber has said that he'll come back and do a Ray Donovan revival. Big fan of Ray Donovan. It's getting some buzz about, a possible revival. And
They came out with a movie, didn't they? Like it was a Showtime movie.
I think it was a Showtime movie. Are you a big fan of it? Have you seen it?
I've seen clips of it. I've never actually seen a full episode, but from what I've heard, it's very, very good. So,
I've never seen
Have
it.
you seen it, Craig?
I've not seen it, but I've same thing with you. I've heard it's really good.
Last up, I wanted to bring up, Craig, you're the Marvel guy. Taron Egerton has met with Kevin Feige about playing Wolverine. What do you think?
I mean, he's been through the Kingsman, so he has the chops of being in a quote unquote action movie. He's played the role of
Elton John,
so he can do the classical. He can do the acting and the all of the the nuanced stuff. Whereas, with Kingsman, it's kind of action film and whatnot. So I think he'd be a good fit for Wolverine. He's kind of short and stout. He's scruffy looking. I think it'd be good.
What do you think about Taron Egerton, Zach, playing Wolverine?
I'm kind of mixed on it. I mean, obviously we haven't really had a Wolverine post Hugh Jackman, so it's just going to be interesting to see how that really plays out. But I mean, for Taron Egerton himself, I think I could see it. Maybe, and he probably will, but maybe if he bulks up a little bit for the role, it could probably work.
Last big thing, we're talking about him in December. Denzel Washington wins the Presidential Medal of Freedom Award as an actor, as a American actor, and I think as a decorated actor.
Yeah,
the dude keeps winning and getting awards handed to him, rightfully deserved. Exactly.
One more thing, Loki season 2 is currently filming. I don't know if you've seen those pictures circulating the internet or not, but it is in the works. It is coming, so look for that maybe June of next year. I think that'd be a good timeline for Loki 2, depending on where they want that story to fall. So,
well, it would have to be post Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah,
I would
so
think.
it could be 2024.
Yeah.
But now, guys, let's get into a little bit of you guys saw some of the prizes that we're currently going to be giving away today. Some posters, a stack full of movies, and they are all handpicked from CDR Electronics.
By yours truly.
By yours truly, of course. But you guys can check them out all on your own. CDR Electronics, 1604 West I-240 Service Road, right here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. DVDs, Blu-rays, posters, tins, laptops, computers, video game systems, whatever you need to get your electronics on, go check them out and let them know that the Cine-Men Movie Podcast sent you. In the future, that will get you 10% off your entire purchase. So check that out. Again, if this sounds a little different, this is, again, live on location. Craig will show you here. Live lobby show right here, Rodeo Cinema.
Yeah, the movie is playing as we speak. That we're actually right behind the speakers, so you can hear the movie in the background. So,
might hear some popcorn popping,
fresh popcorn popping. But no, I think this is a fun opportunity, and guys, we're film fans.
Yep.
and we're being able to provide this show live from a movie theater
One of the longest standing movie theaters.
in
This is-
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, this is the oldest theater I think any of us has been to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the state, yes, but I mean, how much for it? Like, how many other states is this older? One of the older theaters in the nation. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, so just to sit here and talk about movies with you guys on location inside this theater, I got goosebumps right now talking about it.
Yeah.
So, but let's get back to the show. Let's talk about some recent watches. Zach, do you have anything that you want to get off your chest and recommend to anybody?
Yeah, just a couple of them. Like you guys started up the bonus episodes last week with Attack of the Clones. This week, me and Johnny, Craig, and Ed, you're more than welcome to come along. We'll be talking about the 20th anniversary of We Were Soldiers. It is streaming on Paramount Plus. Next week after that, Reign of Fire, which is streaming on Hulu. And finished up, went and saw Minions: The Rise of Gru. We talked about in movie news. It's fine. It's fine.
It is fine.
It's typical Minion action for a kids film. But the big thing is, Craig, and we talked about it a little bit off mic, is Stranger Things 4. The last 2 episodes of the season dropped, and I want to get your opinion on this. I think without spoilers,
Now this is it. Do you guys want to go into spoilers?
no, we're not going to talk spoilers.
Okay,
It's just
spoiler free.
I kind of think, and you can. I want your opinion on this. I kind of think this is like the Infinity War of the Stranger Things season, and then Endgame is like the ending for season 5.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have everybody doing their own path, and then they meet up towards the end.
Yeah.
Which I guess that is spoiler, but yeah, the conclusion of the season all kind of deals with that. It's
Very emotionally powerful.
very emotional. But I'm gonna go. I've told a couple people this. I think this is and can be. It'll be one of the longest. Not the longest, but one of the most decorated TV shows of all time, regardless of it being on cable or streaming.
Yeah.
Just the way that it's gone from start to finish has been truly incredible. It's an incredible ride, incredible actors from when they were 10, 11, 12, 13, all the way up until, 19, 22.
Yeah.
And
I think, and it's both critically well received, and people love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's an 80s television show based in, made in 2010s, 2020s, and it feels like it's straight out of the 80s. It's honestly one of the greatest shows I've ever watched.
Yeah. And I mean, even past the cast, I mean, the production design, the fact that the research that they put in to make it look like 80s themed is phenomenal.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Craig, did you check anything else out, or?
Yeah, Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2 kind of got going off of the Lightyear film. Again, love the movies. They're amazing. They're my childhood. Ended up watching Stranger Things, as you said. Been keeping up with, it's not TV or movie, but it sure takes a lot out of you. Keeping up with sports and free agency and the news with UCLA and USC going to the Big Ten and where all that's going to go. I've been on Twitter nonstop.
We just had the NBA draft, right? That was last week.
NBA draft happened last week. That's another thing that I watched. So yeah, I mean, there's just been a lot of stuff going on sports wise. So that's kind of keeping me occupied. And then just playing some the occasional video games.
I don't know what I'm going to do when football season finally starts. My schedule is super packed now. I could just imagine what it's going to be like in September.
No, recent watches is going to be football games.
I don't know, man.
A mile long.
I don't know. But I do have a pretty girthy rewatch and watch list for the week. I checked out Elvis right after the episode last week.
What'd you think?
Phenomenal. I put it right up there with Top Gun as far as one of my favorite movies of the year.
Do you think, we talked about it with Top Gun, but do you think Austin Butler could win Best Actor?
I think he could. I think he's definitely going to be nominated. If not, it's going to be kind of devastating. I also think I checked out Studio 666, the Foo Fighters movie.
How was that?
Real good.
Was it?
Real good.
All right.
It's cheesy, but it's a good kind of cheesy that you want in your regular. It felt like an old school horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
I checked out Father Stew.
I wanted to see that. How was that?
It's good. Real good. 13 Ghosts. for Friday the 14th podcast. You guys can go back and listen to that now on this YouTube channel on Imsawal Productions. A24 After Gang. It feels like a family version of Ex Machina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a family version. It's rated PG.
Was that Colin Farrell?
Yeah. So
I've seen all those recent watches, and I was going through A24 kind of because my mom was curious. We were talking about Marcel Lachelle, and she was like, "What's A24?" And I was like, "It's a production studio." And I was trying to name off all the ones that I think she wouldn't flip out at. Like, I'm not going to name like Lighthouse, and
she needs to watch Midsummer.
my brother and sister-in-law told her that, and I was like, "Y'all need to chill before she actually like digs into it."
Checked out Star Wars Episode 2 for the bonus episode. Zach, I agree with you. Minions, even though it pulled in the money, it was funny at times, but it was not laugh out loud like some of the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I kind of had during the film, I kind of had the desire to rewatch Despicable Me, the first one. Went home and just put it in, just skim and scan. It's a way better movie. That first one is actually a really good kids film.
Ambulance,
What do you think?
it's Michael Bay at his finest.
Well, you talked about this last week, didn't you?
I brought it up. I saw it.
He
Yeah.
brought it up.
It's not as Michael Bay as the other films.
True.
Mute yourself on the computer.
But I think that it
Blue wall setting. The wood is real brown. It's nice. It's nice on the eyes.
Yeah.
So
real good. Um, let's get into Friday the 14th. This Wednesday on Friday the 14th, we are reviewing Fear.com on Friday the 14th presents UHD live this Wednesday, 8 p.m. So check us out as me and Nick are going to review Fear.com. So you can check it out on Tubi. You can also check it out. I think the DVD is like super, super cheap. So check it out and do it that way. But Zach, you have some Zach's facts about Independence Day.
Yes. So according to number one, according to producer co-writer Dean Devlin, The U.S. military had agreed to support the film by allowing the crew to film at military bases, consulting the actors who had military roles. However, after learning of the Area 51 references in the script, they withdrew their support. Dean Devlin said that most of the dialogue with the scenes of Jeff Goldblum shared with Judd Hirsch and Will Smith was improvised. The president's speech was filmed on August the 6th, 1995, in front of an old airplane hangar that once housed the Enola Gay, which dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima exactly 50 years earlier on August the 6th, 1945. Interestingly, the crowd was not scripted to start cheering. Bill Pullman's delivery was so good that they started applauding and cheering. And the huge hype that the film began generating in early 1996 caused Warner Brothers to postpone the release of Mars Attacks from summer to Christmas, and Spielberg canceled his plans to direct War of the Worlds at the time. So those are your facts from Zach.
Nice. Zach, but you also for the last time me and you came into Rodeo Cinema, we checked out
Tragedy Macbeth.
Yeah. What about what did you check out before that?
Actually, before Tragedy Macbeth, it was like the week before Christmas. Just took a day off and went and saw some movies. Went and saw West Side Story, and I came here to actually see Nightmare Alley, the Guillermo del Toro movie with Bradley Cooper. And it made that movie better, not just to be in this kind of like intimate setting and enjoy a film on a screen that's been here for 100 years. So it makes it a lot more enjoyable. What about you, Johnny? What was the last movie you saw before Tragic Macbeth?
I ended up seeing. What did we check out? We checked out Attack the Block here.
Yeah, but that was that summer of 2021 or was that 2020?
That was summer of.
I think that was 2020 because I think the pandemic was going on then.
Was it 2020?
I think so.
It was the 15-year anniversary of Attack the Block.
Yeah. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was 2020. Yeah.
Craig, I think your first movie here might have to be Elvis, to be honest with you.
I mean, I want to watch Elvis. With Kara kind of telling us that they got a 4K projector and Dolby. I mean,
which is upgraded from when last time me and you went, Zach.
Yeah. I mean, this theater has gone through a lot of upgrades since we came. That was back in January, I believe. So,
but I mean, that 2 words you got to tell me to come see a movie is Dolby Atmos.
There you go.
That sound does wonders for me.
Speaking of OKC soda, guys, you guys can win a 6-pack of OKC soda. They are also sponsoring the podcast as well. Just visit them at okcsodacompany.com. You can check them out on the Instagram page at OKC Soda. They have awesome flavors like blueberry acai, strawberry shortcake, root beer. They're also in your local grocers, Crest, Pruitt Foods, and fingers crossed, we're going to try to push them into some Rodeo Cinema. That way, when you go check out a movie, you can have some fresh popcorn and some ice cold OKC soda. So check them out. But guys, I think I'm tired of stalling. I think it's time that we talk the top 5. All right, guys, we are talking our top 5 Will Smith movies today. We have a fun top 5 list every single week. Anybody have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I'll just run through mine real quick. The Legend of Bagger Vance, 7 Pounds, and my official honorable mention, King Richard, arguably probably his best performance that he's done. It's just a shame of
honorable mention, King Richard.
His actions overshadowed his winning. So
Oh, come on. There's we're gonna get into that. I'm a little hot already, Zach. Thank you. I'm gonna run through my honorable mentions real quick. Um, Independence Day, Enemy of the State, 7 Pounds, Bad Boys 2, and my official honorable mention, Men in Black. Craig, you have any honorable mentions?
I didn't have a list, but I'll go with you guys. 7 pounds, and we'll do Men in Black too.
Zach, go ahead and kick off with your number 5.
my number 5, Johnny, you had it in your honorable mention, is Enemy of the State with Will Smith and Gene Hackman. Regina King's in it. John Voight. Jack Black's in it for a brief moment of
Good
time.
movie.
Very good film. I think it's probably his most underrated film. Very directed by Tony Scott, Jerry Bruckheimer production or producer. Like I said, very underrated. A very good like thriller action film. So
My number 5 is going to be I Am Legend from 2007. I think this is a very underrated sci-fi movie. This kind of gives you some early Walking Dead vibes. Honestly, when you go back and rewatch it, it is on my list in the back of my mind to hopefully talk about one day. You can go HBO Max it up and check it out right now. But number 5 for me is I Am Legend. Craig, finish us off. Number 5.
Number 5 for me is going to be Ali, 2001. Just his performance of Muhammad Ali, I think, kind of kicks off. I think Ray came after this. I think quite a few other like biological picks came out, and it's just one of the ones that kind of kicked all of it off, and it's just a good film. I think he portrays Muhammad Ali very well. So yeah.
Zach, number 4 for you.
number 4 is his 2004 film I, Robot. Very really cool science fiction film, just kind of about like, if we have these robots as personal assistants and everything else in the world, how does it what will be the outcome basically. And of course, with all robot things, everything goes to hell. So and it's actually streaming right now on HBO Max.
Number 4 for me is going to be Concussion from 2015, based on a real life doctor and the real life problems that concussions bring to NFL players. Will Smith, Alec Baldwin, Albert Brooks is in it. I believe it even got nominated for an Oscar. But that's number 4 for me, Concussion from 2015. I highly recommend it. Go check it out. Concussion, number 4 for me. Craig?
Number 4 for me is going to be Hitch. Just one of his funnier movies. Kevin James, Will Smith. Who's the girl in it?
Eva Mendes.
It's just the concept is funny of him being this romantic doctor that kind of falls into trouble of finding love, in his own life. And it's just one of the ones that I can continuously go back and watch with Will Smith in it. So that's my number 4.
Zach, number 3.
Number 3 is going to be Ali. I agree with you, Craig. I think it's one of his finest performances. It's up there with King Richard and Pursuit of Happiness. He was nominated for Best Actor for this. That was the same year as Denzel as for Training Day. So, that's going to be a hard one to pick. But I think he truly embodied who Muhammad Ali was, and he dedicated a lot to get the fight sequences correct. So, very, very good film.
Number 3 for me is going to be The Pursuit of Happiness. Jaden Smith, Will Smith, Thondi Newton. This movie is on Netflix, but if you ask me, you guys could agree or disagree. This movie gets lost in translation.
That's another good movie.
Because of the subject matter and because of how good Will Smith does. I don't know why more people aren't talking about this. So number 3 for me is The Pursuit of Happiness. If you have not seen it, I highly recommend it. It's definitely a feel-good story, and definitely makes you feel like you should not take things for granted. So, yeah, number 3 for me is The Pursuit of Happiness. Number 2, Zach.
Nope, number 3. For
Number
me.
3 for Craig. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna follow suit. Pursuit of Happiness. It's after becoming a dad, it kind of hits home with me because it shows just how much you'll do for your kid. You know, if he didn't have his son in the movie, maybe he doesn't go after as many opportunities as he does in the film. But with this kid and being there, he he wants to make sure that his son doesn't have to live the way he's living currently, and he tries anything and everything in his power to get things right. So it's a good film.
Pursuit of Happiness. Like I said, go check it out. Number 2 for you, Zach.
Number 2 is probably the film that kind of got him on the spot, and we're talking about it today, Independence Day. So,
number 2, Independence Day. Number 2 for me is going to be Ali. You guys all brought it up. To me, that's the movie and that's the role that should have won him his first Oscar. But what else did you say was up that year, Zach?
Training Day.
Training Day. Yeah, I don't even know if Will Smith got nominated for that movie.
He did.
Did
yeah.
he?
Mm.
But it shows you when he puts in the work and when he puts in, the time and the effort. I'm not saying that he never does, but I don't know. I feel like when you do more of that method style, that definitely gets you a little bit further in at least the Academy wise. I don't know. But number 2 for me is going to be Ali. Number 2 for you, Craig?
Number 2 for me is going to be 1997's Men in Black. Just one of the first movies that I ever remember Will Smith actually being like a prominent leading role that I ever watched. And Men in Black, the concept was just so good. There's so many memorable moments in the film. I continuously go back and watch this every couple of years. And it's just a good film. Him, Tommy Lee Jones, they're not getting out of the pack. And it leads into a good trilogy for him and Tommy Lee. And then there's obviously the Hemsworth one. But that's my number 2, Men in Black.
Number 1, Zach, what's your favorite Will Smith movie?
Number 1, probably first thing I think of when I think of Will Smith is I Am Legend. Saw it in the theater and was really just kind of amazed at what Will Smith could do just by himself for a majority of the film. Just kind of, it's kind of creepy to think about, but we kind of did a little I Am Legend back in 2020 where, New York was shut down because of COVID. And it was just kind of that realization of, we not only lived through something like that, but we experienced it. We saw what a pandemic could do.
Caused by a virus.
Yeah. So, yeah, number one's I Am Legend.
Number 1 for me, it was my favorite movie of 2021. Number 1 for me is going to be King Richard. Again, when you do some of that method acting and you do your homework and you find out everything you can about the Serena Williams and the sisters and the family, I don't care what he did at the ceremony. He deserved that Oscar, and he is the best actor. He won it, rightfully so. Or Zach, help me out. I'm having a
Rightfully
stroke.
so.
I'm having a stroke here. But
You're
no,
so excited about being in a live show.
no, for real. Like, despite what he did,
And
it shouldn't overshadow a movie that was already out and he was already up for awards.
True. I feel the same way. He
is
shouldn't
what
have.
it is.
I'm glad it never got taken away. And him being banned from the Oscars for 10 years, I think, is a little absurd. And I think he deserved it. I would have liked to see Denzel got it, but I'm proud that Will Smith got his first for King Richard.
Yeah.
So that's my number 1, King Richard. Craig,
number one for me is going to be following suit with Zach. I Am Legend. As a kid, you watch it and you say, that's just a cool movie because he's dealing with zombies and this and that. But as you get older, you appreciate the way he's able to act and control the scene. He controls the movie by himself pretty much, and that's tough to do. And when you can control a movie and have it go on for, what is it, like an hour and 45, 2 hours?
About really, if you cut credits out, it's only like an hour and 30.
Okay. So he's about by himself in the film for about 45, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's him and a dog, and he controls every minute of it. It gives a good story, gives a good plot, good film, and it's one that I think the CGI may not be able to stand the test of time, but the film in itself I think will be pretty well received for years to come.
Do you guys want a sequel to this? Because they announced it's going to be a sequel with him and Michael B. Jordan.
It's official though.
Yeah, they're going to do it. Yeah.
It has to wait.
Is it going to be a
10 years?
Is it going to be like a prequel where Michael B. Jordan's the young Robert
No,
Neville?
no,
Or
I heard it was a sequel.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll see. I just, we're watching one that happened a few years back, and then we saw what
The
a
sequel
sequel
to
did for
that.
that. So, as long as it's a good sequel, sure.
Yeah. Speaking of, guys, if you want to let us know your top 5 Will Smith movies, some of you already have, and I'll read it at the end of the episode in the email bag like we do every single Monday. For those of you that are watching us live, again on Imsawa Productions, this episode is live. You can stream it now. But for everybody who listens to us audio-wise, the episode will be uploaded later this evening around 7 o'clock p.m. So you get visual and audio still. Excuse me. But again, for everybody who is wanting to come out and hang out with us, we will be here till 3 to give away some prizes. You can see there at the lobby, Craig has shown the camera around. We're here, Rodeo Cinema. We have a half a house for the lobby showing of Independence Day. So come on by, come hang out. Cattleman's is open right down the street. You can get you a good old girthy steak. Fireworks are happening here in Bricktown, a little up the road, about 8 o'clock tonight. So come hang out in historic Cowtown, the Stockyard Cities of Oklahoma City. 2221 Exchange Avenue is where we're at, Rodeo Cinema. And you know what? Put your name in the drawing and
Can win some prizes.
come win some prizes.
We got some snacks out here. You can sit down and talk to us if you want. Might have a little segment where we ask people out in the crowd to come talk to us and say hi and give their thoughts on the film. So,
yeah. So come hang out with us. You can win some OKC soda, $30 certificate to San Marcos, 2 awesome posters, which these posters are right here next to me. You kind of
might
see
be
it.
a little tough with
Yeah. You got a little Darth Vader poster, and you got a little Top Gun Maverick poster. Nothing screams
America
like Tom Cruise
and Darth Vader.
Yeah. So come check us out. We're here hanging out, talking some movies, and talking Independence Day. Speaking of Independence Day, guys,
let's get into it.
IMDb currently gives it a 7.0. Rotten Tomatoes at 67%. The Metascore is 59%, while the Google users have it at 88%. And guess what? It is a Oscar-winning film. The budget was $75 million. It grossed a little over $820 million at the box office for 1996. That's huge. The aliens are coming, and their goal is to invade and destroy Earth, fighting superior technology. Mankind's best weapon is the will to survive and the will to live on. Starring Will Smith, Bill Pullman, Jeff Goldblum, Mary McDowell, Judd Hirsch,
Yep.
Randy Quaid, James Reborn, Harvey Feinstein, Adam Baldwin, Brent Spiner, Vivica A. Fox, and directed by one Roland
Emmerich.
I want to talk about how much it grossed again. Because in 1996, $810 million.
No, $820 million.
820, I'm sorry.
But we do have to, there's a little asterisk right next to that, because this movie does get played in theaters on the 4th of July weekend every year.
Okay, so it continues
to build up.
Yeah. But it was the highest grossing film since Jurassic Park.
So
that was just a couple years before that.
Is this contributing to that 820?
This is not contributing. Our lobby show is not contributing just yet, because this is a free lobby show. You can come check us out. Again, it's free.
So Sorry, guys. Things are blowing up behind us, so it's all right.
We are in Independence Day. It is Independence Day. Zach, I'm going to start with you. First time you saw this movie compared to what was it like revisiting it for the podcast?
Yeah, this is one of the this is one of those films that I remember distinctly growing up watching. I actually remember my mom buying the VHS when it came out, and just really falling in love with it. I mean, even we're on the scene as we're watching it. The White House is being blown up.
Oh, perfect shot right there. Perfect shot.
I mean, we'll get into it, but I mean, it's just every time I rewatch it, I love it more and more. And on this rewatch, it was no different.
Wow, nice. Craig, what about you? What was it like the first time, or was last night the first time for you?
So I want to say last night was the first time that I've watched it start to finish. But I've seen this movie countless times. 4th of July, being at my grandma's house. The entire family's there. It's showing. They sometimes showed it on
They always show it on TNT.
TNT. Yeah. So I just remember seeing this movie countless times growing up on 4th of July. Right after the old Nathan's hot dog eating contest, you come in, watch Independence Day, then you go blow some stuff up. And last night I think it was a little tougher on me, just rewatching it as a whole, than it was growing up and watching bits and pieces. But overall, I think it's still a film that will continue to hold its place in history on this special. On this
sci-fi.
day, yeah, sci-fi, and on this day.
On this day, this movie is always embedded into my mind on the 4th of July. It's almost like a Christmas movie, Christmas time-ish. It's not the 4th of July unless I watch Independence Day or I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I adore this movie because it was just forced on me as a child at age 5 or 6. My dad was a huge Explosion fan. He was a huge Will Smith fan.
Huge Arnold fan.
And he loved his sci-fi action movies. So this movie was forced upon me as a child. And you know what? Growing up, getting the technology better, getting into Blu-ray, getting into 4K, this movie just gets better and better with every time I get to rewatch it. And last night was no different. It was 1 o'clock in the morning, and I had the volume turned all the way up, and I had the you're just living in the moment with these explosions right here now. Even though we're in a lobby and it's still a big screen, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. So let's dig into it. I absolutely love that you get everything you need in the first 20, 30 minutes. Let's talk about they are here. They're here to come to Earth and destroy us. And Zach, let's talk about the director for a little bit because he has some hit and misses. But honestly, if you're just an action fan, I don't honestly. Can you really say he's made a terrible movie?
I agree with that statement that you said that some movies are better than others. I mean, before Independence Day, he did Universal Soldier, he did Stargate, but then after that, he did Godzilla '98, which some people hit and miss like that film.
Day After Tomorrow,
The Patriot, 2012, White House Down, Midway, his newest film this year, Moonfall.
Okay.
Which I'm saying, so that might be a bad movie.
I have to say, I did not enjoy Moonfall, but I did have a lot of things going around me that day. So maybe but I think that's the glory of still going out and buying physical media because you still get to watch things whenever you want.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that with Kara. With all these streaming services pulling stuff, adding stuff, you may be in the mood for Independence Day, and 20 years down the line, they don't show it because it's conflicting interest with something that's going on. So physical media is always going to be king.
Even something like 10,000 BC, which is like the prehistoric ice age movie. I don't mind that one, to be honest. I haven't seen it in a while, but so
10,000 BC was actually pretty good. I watched it for the first time like a year or two ago, and I thought it was pretty kick-ass, honestly.
Yeah,
I didn't have anything negative to say really about it. So yeah, what do you guys think as Bill Pullman as the president? I want him to be my president.
he was good in some spots and then bad in others. And
Bad enough, bad. Let's talk about it now. That's what we're here to talk about. We don't have to necessarily start from beginning to end. Um, Independence Day live lobby show. What do you not like about some of the scenes he's in?
Just so they talk about how at the beginning he was idealistic, and during his presidency he was
Right.
idealistic, he was foregoing, he was leading the way, and everybody's kind of against him. And there's points where he feels like he's a strong, solid president, and then there's other points where he's like, I'm going to take a step back and I'm not going to be that guy. Like when the Secretary of Defense is coming on, and that's probably a part of the script, probably a part of his character and ploy, but it just feels like sometimes he's like not as strong on the foot as he is in other moments in the film. And again, that could be because of the plot and the script. But
Zach, what do you think about Bull Pullman as your president? Would you vote for him?
I would actually. He's
as
very
of now, yes.
he's very well, yeah. I think he's very charismatic in different scenes. I think this is a spoiler alert for almost a 30-year-old film. But when he loses his wife, and he's got to take the mantle of responsibility of leading the free people of the world to defeat the aliens. And so I think he excels as that. But I think when he's just like in the beginning, when he's in the White House, you're just like, okay, am I supposed to root for him or like what?
Yeah. Watching this movie, when they really start to go and face the aliens, this movie really takes a turn for the better. I feel like the initial early parts it's slow. It's building the story and the plot. Oh, the aliens are here. What are they doing? There are some good scenes like where the White House blows up and the town blows up. But once
the explosion scenes with the CGI and the buildings exploding
for 1996, it is damn good because Spawn was 1997.
The year before that, after that, yeah. And like the thing that makes it so good is that there is CGI, but the majority of it's practical. It's like
what Star Wars used.
It's all like
what Michael Bay does.
Scaled models.
They're models. They're replicas. They actually took the time to build the Empire State Building, the White House, all these different buildings, and just blow them up.
And for 1996, when you can't just computer generate everything, that is the way to go, and that's what happened. And it looks damn good when they do it. So
I have to say, I deeply appreciate and enjoy every scene that Jeff Goldblum is in with his father.
Yeah.
Whether they're playing chess or they're arguing on the way to the White House. Judd Hirsch, let's not forget where that guy came from. Everybody originally knows him from Taxi.
Yep.
He was in Taxi with Danny DeVito. But how perfect are those two together in this movie? And Judd Hirsch has a bigger role in the sequel, and we'll talk about the sequel a little bit later on. But I think those two in this movie are just it's a gem to watch them two act together.
Well, and I texted you last night, and I said, Jeff Goldblum in these earlier films, the 90s, late 90s, or early 90s, late 90s, so much better than the stuff he's in now. It feels like this is the character that he's playing. Yeah. And we talked about it in Jurassic World, where it feels like he's trying to portray that Jeff Goldblum too much. Like the personified Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I was going to bring that up with you, Craig. It was just, we talked about it with Dominion. It was just like he's playing... He reminds me a little bit of like Ryan Reynolds a little bit, where he just takes on the persona. Ryan Reynolds is taking on the persona of Deadpool a little bit, but like he's able to do other things. But I think now Jeff Goldblum only knows how to do Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
I think even this, he's still kind of like harnessing on the Ian Malcolm character from Jurassic Park. But I mean, it works. You believe him. And Dominion, you're just like, why are you doing that?
Yeah. 100%. He's much more enjoyable in this, just like he is in Jurassic Park. And I agree. He does take a little bit from Ian Malcolm, sort of as that scientist-y. I know what I'm talking about. You need to just kind of hear me out and let me do my thing. But again, like you said, that works. That works with this character in this film.
Right now, we're on the scene where the U.S. is finally starting to attack some of the motherships that are set up in like Los Angeles, New York City. You see Will Smith and his counterpartner go up there, and you see that the ships are finally they have a force field shield around him. What did you guys think of Will Smith portraying this badass pilot who's trying to get into NASA, and he unfortunately gets turned down by NASA again? What do you guys just think of Will Smith in this movie leading up to the battle that we're watching now, with him and his partner, which is played
Harry Connick Jr.
Harry Connick Jr., Captain Jimmy Wilder. They have some fun lines together too.
They do.
Yeah.
I like Will Smith in this movie specifically for the reason that he's kind of like a cocky Fresh Prince of Bel Air pilot, but he's not so far gone into the Will Smith that we currently know now, where it's like, oh, I'm bigger than this film. He's still wanting to prove himself. He's still that young, cocky guy that I think perfectly fits for the role in this movie.
Zach, 200 episodes in, and we're finally talking about your favorite Harry Connick Jr. What did you think of him in this movie with Will Smith?
To be honest, I didn't even know that was Harry Connick Jr. until doing the research for this. I'm glad they don't exceed that character past this scene.
He's just enough fun for the comedy hour of Will Smith.
Yes. Yeah. And it's crazy that this movie is sandwiched in between Bad Boys and Men in Black. So, I mean, like you said, Craig, the 90s, like Will Smith was just on a roll. Like year after year, he had something coming out. And still, even at this point, Fresh Prince by this point was about to wrap up. So
yeah, he was on the back end of Fresh Prince. He had just done Men in Black first?
Bad Boys.
He had done Bad Boys first. So he's kind of taken on that cop, the badass cop that he was doing in Bad Boys. And I think, like I said, it leads into this where he's that cocky pilot, kind of like we saw in Top Gun. Like, if he's going to be the best of the pilots, we see how people who go to Top Gun act. They know they're the best. They are cocky. They want to continue to exceed and push further, faster than anybody else.
And even a year before Bad Boys, he did one of his more breakout roles when he was still doing Fresh Prince, and that was 6 Degrees of Separation. I don't know if you guys have seen that or not, but he's very, very good in that.
What is it again?
6 Degrees of Separation.
Oh no, I've never heard of it before.
He'll have the Blu-ray by the end of this week. So
it's like 127 hours.
What'd you guys think of the death of Harry Connick Jr.? We just saw it on the big screen.
It was cheesy. He's like, oh, I can't breathe. Oh, it's like, for the time when it came out, I'm sure it was just like cool. But
you guys get vibes of Pearl Harbor from this?
I did, yeah.
Where the aliens are just like Pearl Harboring it up, and they're destroying everybody in sight.
Is that a new verbiage? Pearl Harboring up.
I mean,
no. I mean, it's just they weren't expecting it. They come in and they just completely wipe out the entire base.
Yeah.
Which is the base that what is it called? El Lodo. I don't know. It's the one that Will Smith comes out of.
Yeah, his girl Jasmine, the girlfriend, kind of goes up to the gates and it's completely destroyed.
Yeah. And
El Toro.
Yeah.
El Lodo. But he's in this chase with this alien. Aliens chasing him, and they both end up crashing. And what do you think about him whenever he opens the cockpit and the alien comes out?
Welcome to Earth.
And he punches them. Is very
It's very 90s.
Yeah. Well, you would think that it's very 90s, but what if aliens did invade us now? I think a regular Will Smith punch would probably knock him out.
Well, I think it's also part of the.
It did knock out Chris Rock.
I'm sure someone's done like a meme of that where they put Chris Rock's face on the alien just to do that.
If not, you could be the first, Zach.
But it's also, I think it's just a typical Will Smith character thing to do.
90s line.
Yeah.
I 110% appreciate the dialogue from Will Smith, like the scene that's on here now.
Yeah.
Where he's like, he could have been at a barbecue.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great scene.
Did you? And I think it's classic sci-fi-ish. You can hear it now. That's right.
The parachute's like holding them back.
it's mano a mano when they both go down, and he's saying, "Let him get one more plane, and he'll take them all out." It's just
Here's the alien scene. He just pops up.
like you see the tentacles, and then all of a sudden, and the alien just goes back in the ship.
Well, even this next line is actually very 90s as well.
Yeah. Because Close Encounter of the Third Kind, I think it's the third kind, right?
Yeah.
Or fourth kind.
Third kind, yeah.
But, that was very popular back in the 90s too, kind of around this area. So I think that works perfectly with him punching the alien.
So, let's talk about like this movie is almost about 2.5 hours long, but I mean like that first hour, I mean you get the whole entire destruction of the planet.
Pretty much all the major locations, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a good setup, and then July 3rd happens, and it's kind of this movie is like spread out over 3 days basically, and so the first act is all hell breaks loose, and then the second act is
first of the month of the 4th, right?
Yeah.
Motherfuckers rent due.
But I mean, I think some, like you said, Craig, some of the writing might not be as strong, but I mean, like the whole,
they stayed true to it though.
Yeah,
it's not like they fared off and we're writing some scripts this way or doing it the other way. It was all very much based off, what would happen if an alien invasion happened in the 90s now, and using the Close Encounters of the Third Kind and doing all the stuff that was happening then. It stays very true to the era that it's in.
What'd you guys think about it actually taking almost an hour until you actually see an alien? To me, that's just like classic sci-fi-ish, Close Encounters,
War of the
Worlds, even using some of the maybe like a scene from Jaws. You don't really see the shark that much. And I like
it's the suspense behind it.
I like that in this movie that you don't see the alien as much, and you don't see the alien really until like an hour in.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I think while I really do appreciate the film, I think it kind of slows down when we get to Area 51. It's kind of setting up what leads into the final act of the film, but I mean, it's kind of like you get introduced to Dr. Oaken and Adam Baldwin, and it's just like, okay, but it's kind of quote harping on the mythology of Area 51.
Yeah. And right, we have Franco sent in his top 5 Will Smith movies. We'll go ahead and name them off right quick. Number 5, he's got I, Robot. Number 4, 7 Pounds. Number 3, King Richard. Number 2, I Am Legend. And number 1, Pursuit of Happiness. So,
but I do like how he's like, Area 51's a myth. There was no spaceship recovered 50 years ago, and the president's like, right? And the guy kind of says, well, plausible deniability. If you honestly don't know that something exists, you can tell people and they will believe you because you're telling the truth at that time, at that point in moment. And there probably is a lot of that going on right now in real world, where they know the truth, but they don't. Not everybody knows. So yeah, they're telling the truth when they tell you they don't know what's actually going on.
We're here. We're live. Rodeo Cinema. I'm gonna ask you guys. And you know what? This is a great conversation piece to send in some emails too. You guys think there's really aliens out there?
I don't think there has to be something. There's all these planets. There's this vast solar system, galaxies, and there's only one race of intelligent beings on one planet. It's kind of hard to believe.
Exactly.
I mean, they could be our race just from earlier, and they just happen to know, like, hey, we have to get off this planet because maybe it was going towards global warming, and they had to let it cycle and go back to normal, and then we were able to there's a lot of stuff. Or maybe we really truly are the only ones.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off that. I mean, it's kind of like the billions of stars and galaxies and universes and everything else in between. I mean, it's hard to believe that we're the only ones. Even if whether it be these type of aliens, ET, War of the Worlds, whatever it is. I mean, it's
The X-Files.
the X-Files. Yeah, it's it's just kind of hard to Paul. You remember that movie with Seth Rogen?
Paul's funny.
But it's just it's kind of sometimes it's easy to believe and sometimes it isn't. So this is a great scene right here too.
Yeah. So right now he's pulling the alien through the desert, and pretty soon you're going to see the trailer park coming up on. He's just kicking the alien. I mean, but again, like we were talking about with I Am Legend, it's just Will Smith on the screen, and you don't want to take your eyes away because it's just like he's able to control the screen, and doing so at this point in time where all he had was Bad Boys 2 on his movie, big time movie list it's a big deal. It's
I mean, it's just the charisma. I mean, he's literally dragging a carcass through the desert, and you probably be in that same situation where you're just like, this is my situation, but I'm still pissed about it.
yeah, just straight up talking shit to him, even though he's unconscious.
I want to talk about Russell, played by Randy Quaid. Randy Quaid, for those of you, he's the drunk pilot that got abducted by aliens in this
He
movie.
believes he got abducted.
He got probed.
If you guys don't know who the face is, again, he is the uncle from A Christmas Vacation.
Shitter's full.
Shitter's Full. What do you guys think about his family and his part of this movie?
I think it's just kind of almost like a comeback story. Like it's a guy who was a war hero, did everything that he could, growing up, and then he feels like the aliens kind of took that away from him, and he's just drinking every day, and now he's just kind of the, what does he do? He
crop dust
the fields. And it's funny, earlier in the movie he's going out there and he's like, hey, and Miguel's riding the bike or motorcycle, and he comes up to him, he's like, you dusted the wrong field, dude. And just kind of,
are you sure?
It plays into somebody who feels like they're still doing everything right, but he's just so drunk that he doesn't know. And eventually at the end he comes in and he's the one that saves everybody. So spoiler alert, sorry.
Spoiler. We talked about it earlier. What do you guys also think of Brent Spiner playing Dr. Oaken?
The most 90s character ever
From Star Trek. He played Data in the Star Trek Next Generation series.
Is that too on the nose? You
I
hire a Star Trek actor to be an Independence Day.
I loved it. I thought it was a perfect casting, and even the way they made him look in this movie, he looks like somebody who hasn't showered or been out in the sun for years.
He tells him, he's like, they don't let us out very often because it is top secret, and I'm sure he loves what he does, dealing with aliens and all the technology that they have. He also looks like he could be an alien in Men in Black.
Yeah.
Well, he was an alien droid kind of in Star Trek. What do you guys think of him in this movie?
I think he's what not a doctor, but a scientist kind of entails. He's very charismatic about what he does. He's, the slightest thing that he might have found is just amazing to him. But when you hear it, you're just like, okay, that means absolutely nothing to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's very cartoonish, but also, like you said, Johnny,
he knows his stuff.
He knows his stuff, and he's not really allowed to get out of the building. So it's because it's so top secret.
What do you guys think about some of the scenes where they do, show them not only the ship, which we're on now, but a little bit later on, you see they bring in Will Smith's alien that he found, and they start dissecting him.
Do you like the autopsy scene?
I do like the autopsy scene.
I when I was watching it, I was just like, that's cool, because they open them up and they're trying to dissect them and see what they're made of, see what everything's going on, and
it still looks good. I'm sure there was a little bit of CGI, but it looks like most of that's practical. So
it kind of felt really horror-ish movie-like to me.
Whenever he gets the doctor and he's holding up against the glass, and he's like, "What about peace?" And he's like, "No peace." Like, okay, so now we can communicate with them. No, we're not having to go through signals in our satellites. We're getting direct contact with these aliens, and we know that at that point in time there is no peace. Like, they're here for one reason and one reason only, and that's to take over our planet.
well, and it's also, yeah, like you said, in that moment we kind of get the aliens' motives of they go to planet to suck up the resources, and our planet's next. They've once we get wiped out, they're gonna harvest it basically.
Yeah, because they say that the doctor finds out that they're very similar in their
Biology.
They react to heat and cold the same way. They breathe oxygen. Our planet is.
We're actually on that scene where they see the previous aliens in the test tubes or the water glasses or whatever,
AKA freak show.
Yeah.
And it looks like, I mean, I just enjoy that even though there's no harm behind it, it's just so eerie and creepy.
When
and
it slowly opens up and
Yeah.
you see them.
And what do you if there were little green Martians, what do you guys think they would look like? Do you like the way they look in this movie?
Well, I mean, that's 80s, 90s horror. They want to make it look as grotesque as possible. Aliens could come and look just like us. We would never know. But in order to portray that it's an alien and it's not from Earth, they have to make it look like something that people continuously draw up and say.
Do you like the way they look in this?
Yeah, I mean, it looks very like just.
I think it's like the stereotypical look of what an alien, what we think it would look like.
Big bug eyes, big head.
Yeah.
Kind of same body shape as humans.
I think they even draw a little, I don't know if it's playing homage or they actually took the idea of the head. It kind of looks very alienish a little bit, kind of. But I mean, I think they were going for kind of like the stereotypical look of what, X-Files alien or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know, are you guys a big fan of X-Files? You guys ever watch any of it back in the day?
I never really got into it. No.
I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes.
Watching this last night, I really want to kind of find where X-Files might be streaming, and I want to kind of sit and maybe just watch a few episodes. I know I was forced to watch it at like a young age and wasn't into it, but I'm like, maybe so many years later, I bet it's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, it was big whenever it was out, and I think, with us,
Is it on Hulu, Zach?
It's on. You can watch it for free on Amazon Prime, and with a premium subscription, you can watch it on Hulu. So, but that's just one of the. I mean, even then, I mean, X-Files was on television when this movie came out, so
it's got to be very closely related.
It's closely related, and I wonder like how many comparisons this got to the show into the movie, because I think X-Files the movie was 98.
That's
99.
another thing I want to get into one day. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie The X-Files.
I would like to, but I think that would be a good dive into.
Because they used like a CGI, not a CGI graphic, but they used an actual real photo of the Oklahoma City bombing.
Yeah.
For one of the
wow.
For one of the photos of a bombing in the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The X-Files movie actually came out 2 years after Independence Day in 98, and then the sequel, I want to believe, came out in 2008. So I forgot there was even another one.
I do remember the sequel coming out.
I remember the first one more than I do the sequel, but pretty fun stuff.
Now my question is, do you guys think that there are truths in movies that they hide to make us think like, oh, that's just in cinema, so it can't be real, but it's actually them kind of putting something out there, like, if this is something that we know about, but we're making a movie about it, so you feel comfortable watching it. That way, if anything were to happen, maybe it's like, we've seen that,
like Contagion.
Possibly, because that kind of very much mirrors 2020.
The exact same thing.
Yeah, You know, maybe they knew something like that was going to happen, and they were like, "Let's put it in the movie and see how people react to it."
Because in Contagion, I think the disease comes from Asia or somewhere
Bats.
a bats in
Yeah.
China or a monkey.
And that movie came out almost 10 years before COVID.
Yeah.
So does that mean there's a real Batman?
Robert Pattinson's the Batman.
I do think that, some movies, whether it be truth or just trying to get people thinking, I do think movies or producers or writers, there's people's jobs who sit there and they just think of stuff to write.
Yeah.
So they're literally throwing a ball to the wall and see what sticks. So maybe some of it is a coincidence, or maybe, I don't know. I just think there's so many ideas out there that something is bound to happen in real life. Just like how people compare The Simpsons to real life sometimes.
No, that is specifically what I was referring to. You know, they have all these little hidden things from the late 90s, early 2000s, and you come back and you look at it in 2020 and you're like,
oh, they predicted
the future. Like it'd be one thing if it happened once or twice, but it's happened a lot in that show. A lot.
So we'll see. I'm not too sure, or I do, but that's my theory. I would have to use that as my excuse. Like, I think, there's so many writers today that they're just writing and getting so much stuff out of their brains that it's bound to just be a coincidence sometimes.
Well, and I think it kind of comes down to, everyone's always looking for like the next great original idea. And I mean, to be honest, there really is no great original idea. I mean, if we didn't have everything's been done before. I mean, take Independence Day. How many alien invasion films have we had since then? Or the Worlds and everything in between. And so it's just like, it's the same concept, but it's just done in a different light.
And I mean, even when you look at Avatar, it's
Dancing with Wolves with blue people.
Pretty much. It's pretty much they come in to take their land and they force them and they fight back, and that's what it is. And we've seen that.
Yeah,
it's happened before. So
yeah,
it's whatever you watch, it may not be exactly what you think it is, but it's definitely drawn from something.
And I think as film fans, I think we really cherish the idea of an original idea like Get Out. I mean, that was something that was totally never been done before.
But then you have people that are on the opposite side of things, and they're like, "Oh, Get Out is original," but it's.
I mean, he takes from different other films, but
I love Get Out,
but the majority of it, that was an original idea, you know. So even us, and we don't know what Nope's going to be, but I mean, it's an alien invasion film, basically,
Or so we think.
Yeah,
it could just be Jeff Goldblum coming down and.
We're going to talk about that movie in a few weeks, but what do you guys think of one of the posters with there being a cow up in the air? Do you think that's
horse?
Yeah,
I think it's cool. I think it's a cool poster.
Yeah,
it probably pays a little bit of homage to
Twister.
No, not Twister.
Correct.
The Yellow Brick Road.
He's shooting.
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Yeah. Yes.
We're on the autopsy scene now.
There was I was watching somebody and they were talking about podcast dementia, where you have everything lined up and all these words and everything, but you get on here and you start talking, sometimes you just forget about it. And that was one of those instances.
That's us all the time. Every single Monday.
Well, that's why you take your medicine, Johnny.
Yeah. What do you guys think that it's David, Jeff Goldblum's character, who gets to kind of go up there and save the planet? Because he's throughout the whole movie, he's like, recycle, 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 save the planet. And I think it's funny that he gets to go up there and save the planet.
Do you think it's do you like him coming up with the idea of the virus that takes out the mothership and everything else?
Well, I think as a scientist,
technically it's his dad that gave him the idea.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just, a common cold. That's literally how the idea came about, and that's how we're going to take
Jurassic Park.
Life finds a way.
Again, that's another one of those scenes where the father and son sit down there. Jeff Goldblum is drunk, and the dad's like, "Hey, he's trying to talk him of getting up and getting out, and tells him that he needs to get up off the floor before he catches cold."
Yeah, the scene right here where the alien attacks him after doing the autopsy is like
it's creepy,
very horror-ish. Yeah.
let's talk about this for a minute. You know, this was the highest grossing film of 1996. The top 5 were number 1 Independence Day, number 2 Twister. Twister came in second. The first Mission Impossible, The Rock, and Craig, you'll like this. Number 5 was The Hunchback of Notre Dame from Disney. So
Esmeralda.
Those were the top 5 grossing of the year.
Yep. 101 Dalmatians was 6. Number 7 was Ransom. Number 8 was The Nutty Professor. Number 9, Jerry Maguire. Number 10, Space Jam.
So Tom Cruise had 2 that year.
Yep.
You said Space Jam too?
No, Space Jam 1.
Oh, yeah. He had no.
One of them was Space Jam. Which one?
No, he only had 1 Mission Impossible.
Oh, Space Jam was 10.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're right. Jerry Maguire. Yeah, he did have 2 in the top 10. So you're right.
Come on, Zach.
But I mean, and this is interesting. This was Independence Day became the highest grossing film of Will Smith's career, which up at that point was this and Bad Boys, but it didn't get surpassed till Aladdin in 2019.
Wow.
What about Bad Boys 3 in 2020?
Nope. Aladdin made $1 billion.
Did it really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I thought Bad Boys 3 almost made $1 billion.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Aladdin made $1 billion and just over $1 billion.
Insane.
Top Gun Mavericks made more than that. It's at 1.1 now. Wow. So I think the other thing that helps this movie, it's such a 90s movie. You think of this, you think of Jurassic Park, you think of Twister, you think of other things that, you grew up watching as a kid, but this is like one that always, when you think of the 90s, that's like one automatically you think of. Titanic was also a year after this, so.
Well, kind of going back to earlier in the film, one of the staples of 90s films is when something's happening that makes it feel like you're going on an adventure, you have that score happening. So like when Russell's flying the plane, he's coming over the trees and you have that score happening, and it's just very 90s and nostalgic.
This does have a really good score
to it.
It happens in Jurassic Park when they're going up to the island and you have that score going. It's just, that's what 90s movies were. When they were telling a story and there was dead space, you were just kind of going somewhere, they had that score happening behind it.
That's something that I noticed on this rewatch was the score. I thought the score was like really, really well done. It was horror thriller when it needed to be. It was action, and by the end of the film, it's very patriotic.
Yeah,
in a weird sense of the word. But I mean, it's just it pumps you up to see what's going to happen next.
Yeah. Well, we saw what happened next.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Oh God.
Let's talk about the sequel for just a little bit, because exactly 20 years later, 2016, July 4th, Independence Day Resurgence came out, and I remember being so hyped for that movie on the exact date. The exact date, 20 years later. And that doesn't hardly happen.
Yeah.
And they pushed out the sequel 20 years later. Craig, we went and saw it opening weekend, and we just felt like we wasted 2 hours and a half.
Well,
and that was inside of a theater.
So initially, yes, I still think it's a bad film, but I do want to go back and rewatch it because I haven't watched it since.
Really, me neither.
So, maybe
let's watch it tonight. Not together, but we'll watch it.
Hop on the podcast. We'll do a watch along.
Zach,
I thought about doing a bit where I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't exist. But no, I saw it open weekend like you guys, and I just
have you rewatched it since?
No, I refuse to rewatch it. To be honest, it's not even that I was excited about it, but I mean, like, just how much of a misfire was that? I mean, it was just.
Maybe it's not a misfire. Maybe we just had a bad weekend. Maybe we go back and we're like, damn, this is a masterpiece. This is a perfect sequel.
Does a movie like that get flack, though, because of how much hype a 20-year span was?
It probably did.
And we didn't just go in thinking we're going to get a fun sci-fi adventure. And we were expecting Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum. And,
Part 2.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Will Smith chose to do Suicide Squad than this. And that was the same year.
He committed suicide going to that movie.
Oh, you guys can send hate mail to Craig at CINEMEN921 at gmail.com.
I'm kidding, because I was watching Suicide Squad the other day, and it's bad, but it's not that bad. It was actually enjoyable to go back and rewatch some of that. So
I don't understand how a film with this resurgence had a $165 million budget is so bad, and then I go see something like The Shallows with Blake Lively with like a $5 million budget, and it's like 10 times better.
It's
How-
her in the ocean with the CGI shark.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, how does that happen?
We know why you think it's a good movie, Zach.
Well, we all know why it's a good movie, but I mean,
That shark was damn good.
I don't know. It's not. And you know what? The problem is that it doesn't meet it.
You said it right there. You had zero expectation for The Shallows.
Yeah,
We had 100 times.
expectation for
Expectation for
resurgence.
Independence
What do
Day.
we say here? Every single Monday we say
Come
go
in
in
with
with
an
an
open
open mind, and you might think
That's what
more
I'm saying.
differently.
Maybe we should rewatch it. Open mind.
And I'm gonna admit it. A few weeks ago, I gave Jurassic World Dominion a 4.
Well, I went in with an open mind, and I wish it was closed.
I went in with an open mind a few weeks later, and I'd say, even though it was still kind of silly at times, I bumped it up to like maybe a 5.5, 6, because of how much just hype,
Craig is just like furious over here.
just because of how much hype was surrounding that movie.
We were there, and we were in the moment watching the movie.
You saw people walk out.
There was people walking around, dude. Like, come on now. It's not hype. It's not.
You know what's going to be exciting? Next week, guys, we're talking our top 5 movies of 2022 so far. That's going to be a fun list to put together because we're only in July, and boy, have we seen quite a
seen
bit
a
of
lot.
movies so far.
Yeah,
So that's going to be a fun list. And you know what?
I already know what your number one is.
It's going to be interesting because number 1 for me last year. No, it's not. Number 1 for me last year was, I can't even remember what it was at this point. Oh, it was Jason Statham's movie.
Oh, Wrath of Man.
It was Wrath of Man at the halfway point.
I think mine was going with.
And then we finished. And then I finished the year with number 1 was King Richard.
Yeah,
So that just shows you we still have
a lot to go.
a lot to go.
A lot to go.
Ending, guys, what did you think? They find a way to take the shields down. Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum, knock it out of the park.
Yeah,
None but love. They send a little message over there to the alien. I think it was a fun ending as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Russell kind of has that redemption arc where he's like, tell my kids I love them.
sacrifices himself.
And he said he's been sober for like a day or so leading up to that point. So he was going into it with a clear mind. He wasn't,
He wasn't looking for the hero's glory.
yeah, he knew what he was doing. He was like, if I am the only one that has a missile, I need to do this because it could save the planet.
The president's speech, guys. Let's talk about that
Oof.
because even 20 some odd years later, almost 25 years later, that speech gets played every 4th of July. And Bill Pullman, that's a famous movie speech.
Yeah. It's even watching it last night, I was like, that's as many times as I've heard it, I was just like in that moment for the movie going into what they were about to go into. It was like, damn, that's a good speech.
It's really well acted.
Yeah.
I wonder who wrote it, who originally wrote that speech.
I'll take the credit. I was 4.
What did you guys think of the, as he calls him, the sniffling weasel, the White House secretary?
Secretary of Defense.
The one that gets fired. Craig, we'll have you start. What do you think of that guy?
Somebody who was trying to save his own ass throughout the entire thing. Didn't want to take any risk. Didn't want to try to do anything. Just always look for the easy
He was
way
the
out.
Secretary of Defense before he was president, though, right? Or how does that work, Zach? You look like you're into politics.
Because my tiger shirt?
Yeah, which is an awesome shirt, by the way. You guys can get that on our exclusive shop now on facebook.com/the Cinema Movie Podcast.
They're going to be so pissed when it's not there.
How much you pay for a shirt like that, Zach? Be honest with me.
$40.
Golly, Zach's
Listen,
over
man,
here
That was
living
at
it up.
Dillard's.
Styling on us. Hey, chill.
The Secretary of Defense gets acquainted as the president comes in, right?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where, like, when the president gets elected, it's kind of like he's able to pick
who he wants to have
in his cabinet. Yeah.
It's like when you become president, it's an open NBA draft.
So he gets to pick whoever's in his cabinet, right?
Yeah.
Like when
Yeah.
JBL was WWE champion, he got to pick whoever was in his
Yeah,
cabinet.
it'd be like him picking like John Cena.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is our political show. We don't know what the hell we're talking about, but yeah. Did you do you think it was the right move to kill off the first lady, the president's wife? You think that's kind of like motivation to
Get her out of the way.
by the way, to kind of lead the rebellion against the aliens?
I don't know. I don't know
Did
if
he pull out a prenup to have her sign? No, I'm not.
I don't know if it's the right move. I think in their eyes, it was something to definitely add to the story arc for them.
Yeah.
But something to make him want to hop in the plane and be like, I don't want anybody else to feel this.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody else to lose a loved one.
Yeah.
Somebody had to get sacrificed. I think, whether it be her or
That happens.
Will Smith's wife.
Well, he's not a major character, but Russell, he sacrifices himself to basically take down the ship.
And what'd you guys think of that?
I mean, I think Craig hit the nail. I mean, it was just
It's a redemption arc.
Yeah.
It's somebody that you think there's no hope for, yet comes in and is the one to, be the one to stick his neck out for everybody. I think it was kind of cheesy the way he came in. Oh, Mr. President, I'm coming on my way.
After the president's speech, and you get you get Russell sacrificing himself. I love the line, "Hello, boys, I'm back."
Yeah.
Because he
got probed,
right?
But now it's his turn to probe them. Technically,
Yeah, basically.
That's a nice way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
From Star Wars, Luke only has like a that big of a hole to nail.
That big
of a hole to nail, and Russell he
used the Force.
He did. Yeah, we got all tons of fun going on in here. Again, we are live from Rodeo Cinema lobby show. You guys come check out Independence Day for another 20 minutes at least. No, the movie's going on a little bit longer than that, but
at least 30.
Yeah. After the speech, the war's over. Will Smith finally promised fireworks to
it's not his real son, but it's his
Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The actor who plays Dylan, though,
what did he lead on to be?
He didn't do much after this. He was Will Smith's little brother, or no, he was the Banks' little brother in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He was Nicky. He was the youngest son of Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv. Yeah. So that's where he's from.
I do look super familiar when I watched it.
After Independence Day, I don't think he's in much because he was in the Little Rascals.
That's who.
Yeah.
I got $1.
Yep. That's him. Yep. He was in that. He was in Independence Day. He was in Babe, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So that's pretty much it.
Okay. The Little Rascals is what I saw.
You got $1. You knew exactly what you were talking about, didn't you?
$1. Hey.
Yep.
Man, what a classic movie Little Rascals is.
We didn't talk about it at all yet, and I don't know when we'll talk about her again. Vivica A. Fox. She's in this movie. What would you say her biggest role was, Zach? Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2?
I don't know if...
Because she plays Vernita. She's in Batman and Robin, too.
Well, I mean... What do you mean, like, big roles? Do you mean, like this is what people...
roles.
Memorable roles? Yes. Probably Kill Bill, maybe. This is Independence Day would probably come in second.
Let's just talk about how the other, side 90s cast you have. You also have Lisa Jacob is in this movie. She plays Russell's daughter. A lot of people know her from the older daughter of Robin Williams in Miss Doubtfire. So yeah, there's a big like just 90s side cast in general.
Yeah, a lot of familiar faces that were in other films.
Yeah. Even Adam Baldwin, who's in movies like Serenity, Full Metal Jacket, The Patriot.
He was in Chuck, the TV show.
Yep. So great cast. I gotta believe great cast. I know we've been talking scenes throughout the whole episode, but do you guys want to get into favorite scenes right now? Zach, if you had one favorite scene to pick, what would you pick?
I mean, I think what makes this movie whole is the just the countdown and then the destruction. The city's blowing up, the White House, the Empire State Building. I like there's one shot in particular where I think it's Los Angeles where after everything's going down, they do like a wide shot. It's just like a giant ring of fire engulfing the whole city. I thought that was
Very much
really well done.
it's like Rogue One.
Yeah, it is.
Craig, you had a favorite scene?
I think them when the White House gets blown up. I think that's one of the most iconic scenes of all time in cinema. So there's that one, and I really like the scene where the alien has the doctor up against the glass, and they're talking about what's the ultimatum here? Like, are we going to have peace, or is this fully all out war? And I really like that scene.
I talked about a little bit earlier. Anytime you have the father and son dialogue between Jeff Goldblum and Judd
Hirsch.
fantastic scenes. But if I had to pick just one scene that I remember this movie on, it's President's speech, man.
Yeah.
It's the President's speech, and I get goosebumps every time I watch it. So that's my favorite scene. So you guys can email us your favorite scenes, and you can also email us in your star ratings. Zach, let's start with you. Star rating 1 through 10.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of my personal favorite childhood films. It's not one that I go back to every so often, but it's nice to just take a break from it, put some time in between the viewings, and it holds up really well. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. What about you, Craig?
Midway through, I was having issues with just some of the lingo and the CGI, and then I was like, dude, this movie was made in '96. It's when everything was said and done at the end, I didn't leave disappointed. I enjoyed the movie, and it's one of those ones that I could definitely come back and watch. So I'm gonna give it an 8. Like I said, I texted Johnny some throw up faces like 30 minutes in, and I thought it was just gonna be a rough watch, but I was just like, you know what, this isn't a 2020 movie. Just throw everything that I just go in like it was watching it in 1996, and I really enjoyed it. After that, so I'm gonna give it 8 stars. 7 stars. Yeah,
I'm gonna give this movie an 8. I enjoy this movie. Like I said, Zach, I don't know if it's the same for you, but I have to watch it every 4th of July. It's just one of those feel-good movies for me every year, and can't hate on it.
Yep.
None but love.
I thought it'd be higher. I thought you would give it a 10.
Nothing but love for Independence Day. No, I mean I gotta be real. I gotta be honest. If I do have some issues with the movie, it is that I think it's maybe 25 minutes too long.
Yeah. And like I said, to me personally, it picks up whenever the army and everything starts kind of retaliating against the aliens. However, the opening.
And if I'm being honest, I can deal. You guys can hate on me. I can deal without the First Lady scenes.
Yeah.
I know her death is prominent in the role and in the plot, but I can deal without her and the stripper meeting. I don't need to see a dying First Lady, and I don't need to see a stripper having a conversation in the middle of Armageddon. Take it out. That's my honest opinion. Take it out.
That would make it about 25 minutes shorter.
Yeah.
One scene that when it happened, I remembered it from something, was when Vivica and Dylan are going into the tunnel and they kick that door in.
Oh, the dog.
And
they call Boomer.
Yeah.
Like I was like,
is the dog's name really Boomer?
Boomer, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it and I was like, hey.
Of course. Craig's repping though. He's got the OU shirt on.
But I was just like, man, this is the movie I remember that from, and it was just kind of weird yet funny that I remember that scene and so well, and I didn't know what it was from.
Yeah. And you know what? We're gonna dig into a little bit of the email bag. There is a lot of emails to get through. I didn't answer all of them, so I'm not gonna dig into as many as I normally do here, especially with being live on location. There is so much stuff to get through today, so I'm sorry that I did not reply to a lot of those emails out there. I will reply to them tonight since I'll have a lot more time tonight and tomorrow. So yeah, guys, keep sending in those emails at cinemen921@gmail.com. There's the links right there, guys. If you're watching us live on the YouTube page, facebook.com/the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. The Instagram is all one word, the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. The Twitter is at Cinemen405. And then send us emails, guys. cinemen921@gmail.com. So now
What do the dear listeners say?
we will get into it. Let's read like I said. I'm going to read a few of them off. So you guys can email us at cinemen921@gmail.com. Daniel gives his top 5 movies of Will Smith. Number 5 is I Am a Legend. Number 4 is The Pursuit of Happiness. Number 3 is Bad Boys. Number 2 is Men in Black. And number 1 is Independence Day. Nick says my top 5 Will Smith movies are Men in Black 3, I Am Legend, Hitch, Men in Black, and number 1, Independence Day. Howard says his top 5 is Hitch, number 4, I, Robot, number 3, Hancock, number 2, Men in Black, and number 1, Independence Day. Zach, I literally thought Hancock was going to be your number 1. I don't know why.
Oh, show
No.
yourself full.
Yeah, I literally thought that was going to be your number 1. Steven said Independence Day is a gem, a 90s classic. It must be a rewatched every single year. 10 stars.
There you go. He agrees with you.
Why didn't give it 10? Jackson 405 says Spawn was a horrible first time watch for me. I don't think I'd ever want to watch it again. Spawn gets a 3.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tim says, I loved this recent watch of Independence Day. Fun movie, great cast. Just a fun overall movie. Independence Day gets an 8 from Tim. Let's see. Sarah97 says, my top 5 Will Smith movies. Number 5, Bad Boys 2. Number 4, Men in Black. Number 3, 7 Pounds. Number 2, I Am Legend. Number 1 is Hitch.
It's a good one.
Henry says, what do you guys think they did after Congratulations in the desert? Like, major cities are destroyed. It is the 4th of July. Do you think they're like, hey, let's just go to fucking Denny's? I love Independence Day. 9 stars.
They went to Denny's, yeah.
Denny's is open pretty
24/7,
late, so yeah.
What do you think? I mean, that is pretty. Let's fan book it. What happens after the aliens are dead?
Well, I mean, they're not going to immediately get back to work. Like, they went through a lot of stuff. So, yeah, I'd take a few days off.
After the 4th of July, maybe they're planning for episode 204.
Like
Live at Radio Cinema.
Going to see Thor this week.
Yeah.
Jeffrey says, recently checked out Elvis at Rodeo Cinema, and what an impressive improvement to the theater. I think this will start being my go-to for a lot of movies and a lot of watches. Highly recommend the movie and the theater. 10 stars for both.
Very nice.
Craig, you need to go see Elvis, buddy.
Look, trust me. I might take off a little early one day this week and go see it.
Go do a double feature, Elvis and Thor: Love and Thunder.
Or you know what?
I can't.
Stick around right here and go see Elvis right here later this evening at Rodeo Cinema.
I'll see what's going on.
See it tomorrow. So I do think that it's a little catch as catch can as far as Elvis goes at this theater.
Look, I'm sorry. It's not my fault.
But you guys have to make room good old Edward.
Mm.
You guys have to try to squeeze in here and make some kind of room for Ed. It is
Sorry about that, guys. I was not lucky enough like these other three to get off today, so I had to join as late as I could and as early as I could get here.
he was fighting off some aliens at his own
Whew, that's truth.
over
That's truth.
over at that horrible location.
Man, did I ever?
Yeah, it's a horrible location. I don't recommend going over there.
It is what it is, though.
But no, Ed, I'm glad that you got to squeeze in and talk to us about some
Just a little bit.
Independence Day. Ed, what would you give Independence Day out of 10? 1 out of 10.
You know, honestly, I've always liked it an 8, definitely an 8. I like it. I mean, honestly, some of it's cheesy, but you know, it just adds to nachos. Simple as that.
Oh, I like it. You love the cheesy nachos.
You know what? I think we have to kind of mute, and we're here right now. We have to let people listen to this speech live. Turn it up a little bit or something.
Currently hearing the speech.
The president's speech. If any president out there is trying to get into office, just take notes from Mr. Bill Pullman.
It's the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night.
Goosebumps.
We will not perish.
They're growing as we speak.
We're going to live on. We're going to survive.
That score behind him.
Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
Yeah, America,
No, it's not America. It's the world.
world peace. That makes me just want to get up and fight anybody. Let's just fight.
Ed, you relate, so.
Let's just get up.
OD green on, you know.
Everybody wore expensive shirts. Look at Ed's got some silk. He got the sheets from The Godfather.
Man,
He made it
know,
into
I
a
gotta keep it
shirt.
a little classy at least. Got to keep it classy in this heat.
Craig, you got the problem. You got the low shirts
I
on,
got
so
the
you're good.
cheapest,
Yeah,
yeah.
you got the.
Got the
No.
polo.
I had to rep the podcast shirt today.
I can't have no collar like y'all. You know, gotta keep it professional but courteous. You know.
But guys, fun episode today, live on location. Next week, guys, we get sent back to the bedrooms. Next week, we're going back to the theater. We're checking out Thor: Love and Thunder in theaters next Monday, July 11th. Episode 201. We'll enjoy this one for today, but after today, we go right back to work.
Sounds like a college room.
Yeah, I'm excited. Get to see some Chris Hemsworth cheeks.
Literally. I mean, Craig, you're the Marvel probably person out of all of us. Are you excited to see
The
where this may
aficionado?
go? Where this may go in the MCU?
I'm gonna be honest with you.
We don't know, honestly.
If they don't do something that shows where the MCU is heading in this one, the movie can be a 10. But if there's nothing that connects like what it's going to, I might drop it down a little bit. I'm just saying.
And then
I'm ready for the next big villain.
Thursday, 7:30 p.m. You guys can join me and Zach as we talk We Were Soldiers. 20th anniversary bonus episodes continue this Thursday, July 7th. We talk We Were Soldiers, Mel Gibson, and a bunch of other great people, other great cast. This Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Even Sawal Productions YouTube channel. Zach, what do you think?
I think it'll be a fun conversation.
We Were Soldiers just a few days after 4th of July.
Yeah.
America.
Do a war movie after July 4th. So, yeah.
And then there it is right up on the screen, guys. Next week, Thor, Love and Thunder. Next Monday, Cine-Men Movie Podcast. But you know what? I'm also excited. 4 weeks from today, August the 1st, 6 p.m. We're back live here at Rodeo Cinema Monday, 6 p.m. August 1st kicks off A24 month. I'm excited. Everything, everywhere, all at once, or everywhere, everything, all at once.
Yeah.
A24.
I've heard it's a really good movie.
So have I. I've heard a lot of good things as well. But we get to come right back here and do it live on location. You guys excited?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Um,
For sure.
Be a part of it.
other than that, do you guys have anything else you want to add to this historic 200th episode?
This will be coming out later tonight. So, but if you're watching live, have a happy 4th. Stay safe tonight and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, happy 4th of July, and thank you. I mean, we're at 200 episodes, and it's really been an honor getting to talk about movies with you guys.
Yeah, honestly, haven't been in on this one. However, I know, y'all pushed out some good stuff. But yeah, happy 4th of July. Don't blow off any fingers. Keep the kids safe and back up, Terry. So this is Ed saying I'll see you on the silver screen.
And then, guys, don't forget next Monday live, Imasawa Productions. We are talking Thor: Love and Thunder. Next Monday live right here on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.